It is Wednesday, my dudes, and you know what that means? Another One Punch Man chapter. And this one continues where the previous one left off, where it's still featuring Suiko as we see on the cover right here, in her fight against Machine God Mirror. And this chapter is titled Backup. Now, if you guys remember in the previous one, the Machine God Mirror attacked the Hero Association base, primarily where all like the, affluent, wealthy people were being kind of kept safe and guarded by the heroes. And Suiko was the one to hop onto the scene and get to the machine god first. And as we can see right here, she was having a very hard time fighting it because it's a threat level dragon. So her being a brand new A-class hero, we'd assume that she'd stand absolutely no chance against it. And it was holding very true up until the very end of the chapter because she apparently had drank some alcohol after she crashed into a convenience store, and that kind of gave her like some Rock Lee drunken fist type of like boost or power up, I guess you could say. Here we can see that she has clearly like leveled up and dishes out some actual punishment on Machine God Mirror for the first time in their entire fight. And then they get to this cool scene where they get on top of a train, and Suiko, in her, again, her drunken fist state, manages to like hop up on the wall of a tunnel as the train's going through the tunnel and uses it as like leverage to nail Machine God Mirror right in the face in this really cool shot to end out the chapter. Now we essentially pick up right from that moment, or I guess like not exactly from that moment, but from the same time as where that chapter ended, because on the first page here, we see that Saitama arrives on the scene at the Hero Association base and sees all the defense robots that Dr. Bufoy has set out to protect the front gate, the ones that Saitama had destroyed, like at the end of the Monster Association arc. He sees that those have been destroyed yet again, but this time it wasn't by him. You can assume that they were destroyed by Machine God Mirror this time. So he's of course confused. He doesn't know what's going on here. And his Hero Name Victims Association members are much slower than him, so it's taking them a while to get to Saitama. And it seems like Saitama notices, he hears the fighting happening between Suiko and Machine God Mirror, because he takes like a hard left and starts heading in that direction. And here is where we actually pick up from where the previous chapter ended, because we see a close-up of Suiko locked in, nailing Machine God Mirror right in the face. And it appears to be doing a bunch of damage, but turns out to be actually the case. We're about to see in a second. I know there was a lot of people after the previous chapter came out saying that like Suiko got like a mega buff because it seemed like she was doing a lot more damage to Machine God Mirror compared to the webcomic. But I'm gonna be honest, the Suiko agenda took a pretty massive hit after what we see beyond this page. But first, I gotta talk about a game I've been getting back into after a while, and I forgot just how loaded it was. There's a ridiculous amount of bosses, PvP modes, clan stuff, and the graphics are way better than I expected from any mobile game. And for example, beyond the vast amount of content, Raid features a unique lineup of legendary champions inspired by the classic tale Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, including Alice the Wanderer, Cheshire Cat, Mad Hatter, Knave of Hearts, and the fearsome Queen of Hearts, a dark fantasy take on Wonderland brought into the realm of Teleria. Personally, Alice the Wanderer is probably my favorite from the event because she's insanely aggressive and keeps cycling abilities fast, so she's really fun if you like damage heavy characters. I mean, who doesn't? And you can get her by using my link and entering the code GETALICE. Now if you guys do decide to try the game, here's the biggest tip I can honestly give any new player. Pick Kyle as your starter. That's the champion I picked personally, and seriously, just trust me, he hard carries the early game because poison damage is busted against bosses. And also, if you use my link or scan the QR code you see right now, you get a pretty stacked beginner setup. You instantly unlock the legendary support character Narma the Returned, and once you hit level 15, you get the epic champion Aina for free. On top of that, new players can pick one free legendary champion using some promo codes. Personally, I'd go with Alice the Wanderer using code GETALICE. Just make sure that you download the game through my link or QR code first, or the promo codes will not work. So yeah, watch out for that. But honestly, if you guys want to help support the channel, this is one of the best ways to do so. Downloading the game through my links really helps me get more sponsors and keep making videos like this. So yeah, get all that free stuff and check me out in game at Anime Anxiety, and I'll see you guys in Raid. Well, we continue with the fight between Suiko and Machine God Mirror, as like her punch is holding it in place as the train's moving. So I'm not going to pretend to know what this is exactly, But it's something that was on top of the train that crashes right into Machine God Mirror. And Suiko is just like holding the position. It's kind of insane how strong she is, actually, even though like what we're about to see in a little bit kind of like, I guess you can say, nerfs her or brings her back down to earth in terms of like the power scaling world and all that. Because even with all that momentum from the train, like she's still holding her place against the wall of the bridge, and it's just leaving Machine God Mirror like smashing into everything that's coming at him from the train moving. So every time one of these little like platform things comes up, it just keeps smashing right into Machine God Mirror, damaging it more and more. And Suiko again is just holding her place, which is, in my opinion, very impressive for a new A-class hero, if any hero really. But finally, we get to the end of the train, and she does one final push to just send him Machine God Mirror flying with all the debris that just smashed into it from the train. And this is where things start to go a little south. But what I will say is that after this, I have, I think, a much appreciated addition to the manga that we didn't see in the webcomic before. And it kind of brings me to a bigger point that I do want to talk about at the end of this chapter. But before we get to that, Suiko falls on the ground, and Machine God Mirror is just laying in this seemingly destroyed in this giant pile of debris from the train. But of course, as we probably already knew, Machine God Mirror is not done yet, not even close. Comes up from the debris, and it seems like the damage that it had taken from Suiko was almost immediately healed. As we see down here, it had a dent in its helmet, and it just completely snapped back, and it looks as good as new. And again, this is where the Suiko agenda takes the biggest hit here, because Machine God Mirror like stands ominously over Suiko, and it says total damage taken 0.000001%. So I believe a similar scene was shown in the webcomic, but I think it took even less damage in the manga than it did the webcomic. So I just thought it was kind of funny that, like, initially people were saying that Suiko got buffed big time versus her webcomic version. And it did seem like that. I mean, I would have tended to agree with everybody at that point, but now seeing this, it seems like no, she technically she was nerfed versus her webcomic version. And I don't think it's so much to like knock Suiko down, more so to beef up Machine God Mirror, like make it seem even stronger than it was in the webcomic. You know what I mean? So Machine God Mirror says, not bad for a small fry, managing to put a scratch on me. And as we remember from previous chapters, Black S and Overgrown Rover were also kind of in the mix, as Overgrown Rover was shooting energy blasts at Machine God Mirror. They were kind of like almost playing like support in a sense. So Black S is telling Overgrown Rover to shoot Machine God Mirror more because it seems like it's not done. But before that can happen, we get the introduction, or not really introduction because we've seen them before, but I guess the entrance of two heroes that I honestly did not expect to see in this whole little like mini fight, because it wasn't present in the webcomic. And again, it's something that I very much appreciate with the manga. I know I have a lot of my complaints of like changes from the webcomic versus the manga that I feel like the webcomic does better. But something like this is something that I think the manga does do well, like kind of expand on the ancillary characters, as we're about to see. So as we're seeing right here, it's of course Chain and Toad and Butterfly DX. So they come into action, and Chain and Toad uses one of his moves, Continuous Attack Chain Weight, which seems to, like, I'm not exactly sure exactly what's happening here. They kind of hit the ground, scrape across the ground, and wrap around the like the metal railings on the side of the bridge. I think this is, and I'm not sure if Butterfly DX is exactly flying here or if he's just like gliding from the momentum of the swinging chains. But like then I kind of wonder, like, how did he come from the sky in the first place? Like, did they jump off of the Hero Association building? Like, could they make it that far? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Butterfly DX can fly. Maybe I'm like forgetting something that like he showed that he could. But anyway, I just thought it was really cool that like Chain and Toe is kind of hanging on to them, kind of keeping them from hitting the ground, I guess, if Butterfly DX can't fly with his chains. And the momentum kind of brings them back over the bridge. And Machine God Mirror notices them instantly, like knows their names, because I'm assuming it has data on most heroes in the association. And this is when, Butterfly DX makes his like grand entrance onto the fight. And honestly, man, I'm gonna be honest, I did not know my man had this much sauce. Because I mean, look at this panel right here, super cool. He uses one of his moves called Wing Breath Scale Powder Explosion. And again, it looks like just a pretty cool move, well drawn by Murata, as pretty much everything by him is. And then as he kind of stands in front of Suiko looking super heroic, he says, you're a rookie, aren't you, miss? In situations like this, you should contact the association and call for backup. And of course, as you would guess from this attack, Machine God Mirror, like, it doesn't do anything to him because he's kind of just standing ominously in the dust of all the dust that Butterfly DX just blew and said, you insignificant pests. Again, this is where I want to just take a quick moment to appreciate some of the changes that have been coming to the manga. I know there's there's a lot of stuff to complain about. For me personally, everybody can enjoy the manga more or the webcomic more. I won't blame you for either one. But what I would say is that not only have these recent manga chapters just been very short, chapters coming out every 2 weeks, it just really sucks. To get 13 pages or something of for example, this one fight has taken 3 chapters, I think. So that just kind of goes to show that things are just moving at a much more of a snail pace, which whatever, it's fine. It's better than getting rushed, low quality content, right? We just have to be more patient, which is unfortunate, but whatever, it is what it is. But also, one thing I will say that I don't mind slowing things down to do stuff like this is trying to elaborate and kind of highlight other characters within the world of One Punch Man. Because one of the things that I really love about One Punch Man is all the creative and cool characters that are involved in the story. As you see with Murata and some of his other, not Murata, I'm sorry, One and his other works that he's been working on. I think the series Versus that he has so many freaking characters in it. And I just think that's really where One shines, is having these creative and unique characters interacting with each other and kind of growing as the story goes along. So yeah, I don't mind them slowing things down and I guess highlighting other heroes as well and kind of tweaking things that way. But I am very curious to know what you guys think about this chapter, the shortness of it, because this is the final page of the chapter. What did you think about it? How do you think this fight's going versus the webcomic version? Which one are you liking more? Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about all this, but let me know in the comments below. That's going to do it for this one. And again, don't forget to click my link in the description or scan the QR code you see on your screen right now to download Raid and get some free stuff, along with entering code GETALICE along with others to get even more free stuff. I'll see you there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.